What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner, a channel dedicated to all things Arsenal Football Club, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look back at yesterday's massive game against Aston Villa, Manchester City's faltering at Nottingham Forest, and digest basically what was an outstanding day for us as a club. Before we get cracking, though, why not just take a moment and hit that subscribe button as hard as Jorginho hits the ball. It's a brand new channel. I post every single day. So if you love all things Arsenal, Arsenal related, and you want to be kept up to date with news and views, hit that button. Well, what can you say about the game against Villa? A potential booby trap, absolutely a test of our mentality and our strength. Team that needed freshening up, and the first thing to say is that Arteta did exactly that. A lot of people were talking about dropping Martinelli. I personally would have dropped Eddie Nketiah and tried Trossard up front, but in the end, what can you say? Trossard came in for Martinelli. Ben White returned back to the team, and Jack has started, even though you have to say he's looking tired. The first half could not have gotten off to a worse start, really. Zinchenko, who many people were calling for to be dropped as well in favour of Tierney, gave the ball away in what shouldn't really be a dangerous position, but the ball, Ollie Watkins left isolated with just Saliba, manages to run it all the way down. Saliba, I think, did okay. He marshalled him, but the shot that Watkins got off beat Ramsdale. He was looking like it was going to be a tough day. Then superstar, one of the world's greatest players. I cannot be more excited about a player at Arsenal. I absolutely adore him. Bukayo Saka with a beautiful volley to put us back in the game. And then it really looked like we could come back and really impose ourselves on the game. But before you knew what had happened, a delightful Villa move led to a goal by Coutinho, who at long last has started to look like the kind of player who did get that £140 million transfer fee. I have to be honest with you, I felt deflated. I felt that, going into the second half, that we could still come out of this with a 2-2. I probably would have taken your hand off at half-time for a 2-2. The concerns were around how jaded the players are looking. Eddie up front not taking his chances. Xhaka kind of pedestrian most of the game. Odegaard, you have to say, was anonymous. Trossard not really having the impact that we wanted to see on the left. Something happened in that dressing room at halftime. I think you've got to give huge credit to the players, but also Arteta. I know that publicly he's always pro the team and showing them lots of love, but I'm sure, and we all saw the documentary, we know that he does like to rattle them in the dressing room. And whatever he said, they came out strong. And the one player I really want to give a massive amount of love and respect to is Zinchenko, scoring his first ever Premier League goal, and so well taken. And it's been a long time since we had a left back, except that he's not necessarily playing just as a left back. He seems to play everywhere but left back at times. But for him to step up at that important moment and pop the ball away for our equaliser, what a performance from him. As I said, you could blame him for the first goal, but you certainly have to give him full credit for the equaliser. And from then, it didn't look like there was going to be anybody in it but us. Now, Emi Martinez, love him or hate him, I'm a little ambivalent, really. I thought that his toys out of the pram, kind of joining Aston Villa, talking about how he was going to a big club, all the kinds of things he's done to annoy us. For him to score the winner for us after the amount of time wasting he did. And there is something to be said here now for referees are just not booking these time wasting goalkeepers early enough. I understand they don't want to be the first referee to send a player off for time wasting, but if it's happening, the punishment yesterday was that actually with the 6 minutes of extra time, we scored twice. I absolutely love Jorginho's goal for so many reasons. Martinelli on the pitch. There's a point where he just throws his hands up and begs for the ball. And, I look at it and think the courage to take that shot, especially since Jorginho is not somebody who you'd expect that shot from. And then for it to bounce back off the goal line, hit Martinez in the head and go in, in the third minute of 6 minutes of injury time was outstanding. But it wasn't over. And I have to be honest, I was still on the edge of my seat, especially as they go up the pitch and with only seconds to go managed to get a corner. Well, Vieira, who had come on, when he's got the ball and there's no keeper in the net, surely you're thinking, just launch it. Doesn't matter if it goes out, it goes out. But instead he unselfishly gives it to Martinelli, who looked like he was rejuvenated by a spell on the bench. And what a performance. I've actually heard people saying that it was unsportsmanlike for him to celebrate before the goal. Gabby Agbonlahor was saying it was unsportsmanlike for him to celebrate before the goal. Shut up. It was a perfect moment. And the reaction from the bench, the reaction from the players, I think this game has told us an awful lot about character. After Wednesday's defeat, which looked a little bit like men against boys, certainly in terms of experience, you could forgive this team for crumbling. You could forgive them for having their heads down. The start of the game, it looked like that's what was happening. But to find the character, to push on and really push against the Aston Villa team, which are no mugs. I think it's a real shame that Unai Emery's being, a lot of people calling for him to get the sack, that he's not the right guy for the job. This is a person who's had serial success. His time with Arsenal, he did get us to a final of a European trophy. Probably less said about that game, the better. But I think give Unai Emery time and he will deliver an Aston Villa team, unlike the teams we've been used to. And it's a bit premature to be asking him to get the sack. But one of the things I really loved about Unai Emery was how outspoken he was about Emi Martinez's decision to go up for the corner. Now, I think it's pointless to blame him for anything. At 3-2 with only a minute left, there was no chance that even if he didn't score the header, that was the end of the game. So who can blame him for going up there? Personally, I hope we never have a goalkeeper who goes up for corners, because for the times where it does come off, I think Unai Emery's absolutely right. It's a 100-1 shot, and it's a waste. But when there's not much time left in the game, what could be the harm? And it was a feel-good game all the way through. Now, I do just want to mention something now, because the fans who travel, the fans at home, and most of the fans online have every reason to be overjoyed and happy with that game. But there have been elements of our support who really need to take a long, hard look at themselves. One in particular who at the moment is sending my blood cold, Lee Gunner. And I include a clip here of him at halftime, once again calling this team, who have far exceeded any of our expectations this season, bottle jobs. This little clip here deserves to live long in infamy.
Well, so tired of this unsustainable loser team. This is the thing, bro. When it's going well, it's great, isn't it? And it looks amazing. We were playing fantastic. As soon as there's a tiny little bit of pressure on this football club, mate, yeah, they bottle it every single time. Every single time. And I'm telling you now, I said this the other day, yeah, if Man United finish above us, sack him.
It's all very well being a smart ass and talking about how they've let you down when they don't perform at the very best that they can every single game, which frankly is impossible in a 38-game season. Champions do not play outstandingly every single game. Even the Invincibles had too many draws. What Lee Gunner does here, though, means, as far as I'm concerned, he cannot be taken seriously as a human being or as an Arsenal fan. You just have no right to get on the back of your own team. There are plenty of fans out there ready to and waiting to rub it in when we don't perform at the very highest level. So for one of our own to be calling people bottle jobs and pussies, as he's done this week, and to get on Martin Keown calling him a wrong and just for pointing out that we have no right to expect to be at the top of the league and that we should be proud of this team, it's not fan behaviour. If you're guilty of this, if you're sitting there thinking they've let you down, that's fine, but keep your mouth shut, all right? Keep your mouth shut till the end of the season. He was already talking at halftime about what if we finish below Manchester United. You cannot have any credit as a human being or as a fan if you are going to be this wrong about a group of players, because what he says is that under the smallest amount of pressure they crumble. Did they? Did they? Nah. They pushed on and on through tired legs, through confidence drops, through everything to show us what it is to be an Arsenal team at the top of the table. And they are on merit at top of the table with just 15 games to go. Now, Manchester City's team going into the Nottingham Forest game, you could imagine that they probably thought they were going to go there and roll over a Nottingham Forest team. And the performance by Nottingham Forest was a defensive one, to say the least. I don't think they crossed their own half. Erling Haaland, who looked like he'd regained top form against us with an absolute sitter miss, just goes to show you, doesn't it? There are no easy games in this league. We have a tricky away game to Leicester, who are refinding their form on Saturday, but it does give us a week to rest, and I hope that that means that we can start to see the best of Xhaka, and we're inching ever closer to Gabby Jesus, who will come in for Eddie Nketiah. And perhaps I'll be the first to say it, I thought that Eddie Nketiah should be dropped. He had another really poor performance yesterday, but he doesn't stop trying, and I do think he has a long and happy career with us. So perhaps Arteta's decision is right. Perhaps you do keep him on the pitch till he regains his scoring form. The problem, of course, is that if he's not scoring, he doesn't add much else to the team. He did, however, lay off a perfect ball to Martin Odegaard and should really have an assist. And Odegaard, who came back into the game strongly, you know, it could have been so different if that was the reason that we didn't get the win. I'm 100% behind this team. I don't care where we finish at the end of the season. I have waited years for an Arsenal team to really play for the badge and go out there and give everything. And I think you're seeing that now. I think the doubters about Jorginho have to eat a little bit of humble pie. He's brought that steel and determination and a winning mentality, just as Zinchenko has done. It's an awesome day to be an Arsenal fan, and we have a week now just to celebrate, and that coach trip for the team going back yesterday must have been buzzing. I wish I'd been on it. I am full of confidence for the game against Leicester. We'll have a week to look at how that may pan out. Overall, come on you Gunners! Love you. Thank you, man, every single last one of you, for starting off my weekend in a beautiful way. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click like if you did. Subscribe. It's a brand new channel. I post every single day. And if you love the club as much as I do, join me on a journey to what is going to be a fantastic year. Lots of love.